الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على خاتم النبيين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. محمد سيد الكونين والثقلين والفريقين من عرب ومن عجم. بشرى لنا معشر الإسلام إن لنا من العناية ركنا غير منهدم. وإن من جودك الدنيا وضرتها ومن علومك علم اللوح والقلم. هو الحبيب الذي ترجى شفاعته لكل هول من الأهوال مقتهم. يا ربي بالمصطفى بلغ مقاصدنا واغفر لنا ما مضى يا واسع الكرم. محمد أشرف الأعراب والعجم. محمد خير من يمشي على قدم. محمد خير خلق الله من مضار. محمد خير رسل الله كلهم. هو الحبيب الذي ترجى شفاعته لكل هول من الأهوال مقتحم. صلى الله عليه وآله وصحبه وسلم. Alhamdulillah, once again Allah wa ta'ala, He has gathered us here on this blessed day of Yawm al-Jum'ah. And Yawm al-Jum'ah, this is Sayyidul Ayam, this is the master of all of the days, and Allah wa ta'ala, with His unlimited mercy, with His unlimited rahmah, has allowed us to be here once again in His home, in the Masjid of Allah. And we begin by sending infinite and countless salutations upon our master Sayyiduna Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, who is our final prophet of Allah, the final prophet of Allah and the best of all creation, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Today, inshaAllah, we'll hear about a very important topic, which is the topic of akhlaq. Something which is very important for us to focus on and try to develop ourselves on in this day and age. We live in a very harsh environment, a very difficult society whereby people, generally their tendencies, their dispositions tend to be one of a very harsh nature, a very frustrated nature. People tend to be very hard to one another. So in such a society, in such a climate whereby people, they don't show enough kindness to one another, they don't show any forgiveness to one another. Inshallah, now we will learn about what our Islam teaches us regarding akhlaq, having the best of manners. Looking at an ayah from the Quran al-Kareem, Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala, He says, وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. That, oh beloved, indeed, definitely, you are upon the best of all characters. You have the best character. Undoubtedly, you have the most perfect character, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So, if we look at a linguistic point of view, this ayah, it says in this ayah, وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. So this harf inna, if we look at this harf inna where it says wa inna, this is known as harf mushabba bil fa'il, and this comes in the Arabic language to give emphasis. It's used for ta'qeed. So Allah Almighty, He's emphasizing this point. If Allah Almighty, if He says something, this is enough for us to show the importance of it. When Allah Ta'ala has said something to us, this is enough for us to know the importance of what has been said. When Allah Almighty, the Creator, the Khaliq, the Malik, He Himself has said something. When Allah Ta'ala has revealed a verse, this is enough to show its importance and its emphasis. So imagine, or try to imagine, because this is beyond any capability of imagining, when Allah Almighty, when He says a particle of emphasis, when He mentions emphasis in the ayah, try to think about the importance of that what is being spoken about. So Allah Almighty, He is emphasizing by saying, wa inna, and indeed, wa innaka la'ala, and this lam, this is also known as lam ta'qeed. This is known as the lam for emphasis as well. So Allah Almighty is emphasizing with the harf of inna, and He's emphasizing with the harf of lam, the lam of ta'qeed. Two particles, two huruf of emphasis. Harfan. Then, moving forward, Allah Almighty says, ala, which is known in Arabic as a harf of jar, from the huruf al-jar. There are 17 huruf al-jar, 17 letters of jar, which give the next word after it the state of majroor, the state of kasra. So one of these huruf, of these 17, is ala, which gives the ma'na, gives the meaning of being upon something. Ala, being above something, being upon something. Wa innaka la'ala, that indeed, definitely, O beloved, you are upon khuluqin azim. The most best character, the greatest character from Allah wa ta'ala, the most magnificent character, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. This is Allah Almighty Himself praising our Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Some people nowadays, they say that the Ahlul Sunnati wa Jama'ah, we praise Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam too much, ma'adallah. When Allah Almighty, Rabbul Alameen, He has praised the beloved, praised our Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, then this becomes impossible for the creation of Allah to praise Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam too much. This becomes impossible when the Creator, the Malik Himself, has praised the Habib, then this becomes impossible that the makhluk can praise the beloved too much. This is impossible. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So looking at the ahadith, the blessed statements of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, Al-birru husnul khuluqi. This is a hadith found in Sahih al-Muslim. In front of me I have Sahih Muslim. This is Sahih Muslim in front of me. This is a hadith found in this book. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, Al-birru husnul khuluqi. That the piety is the best of characters. To have the beauty of the character. This is the piety. Nowadays, sometimes you see person who possesses some knowledge, someone who possesses a bit of respect in society. Then what happens? You can't even get a smile out of him. You can't even get one kind, sweet word out of him. You can't even get a kind gesture from him. When we give salam to them, you can barely hear the reply back. Sometimes they don't even reply back. But Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam said, Al-birru husnul khuluqi, that the piety is the beauty of the character. If we want true piety, if we want to become from amongst the abrar, then we must improve our character and show the beauty of the character. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. There's one very beautiful hadith that I want to mention. In the summary, this is found also in Sahih al-Muslim, in the Babu min Fada'il al-Julaybib. Babu min Fada'il Julaybib. Radiyallahu anhu. That this is the chapter about the fada'il, about the virtues of Sayyiduna Julaybib, the Sahabi radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. So maybe some of you might know about Sayyiduna Julaybib. And sometimes the people from the different sects, different groups, sometimes they speak very disrespectfully about him when it comes to narrating his ahadith, narrating his stories, his incidents. Because Sayyidina Julaybib radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, he wasn't the most handsome of Sahaba Ikram. So I've seen somewhere that sometimes when Sayyidina Julaybib radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, when he is mentioned, then he isn't spoken about using the most respectful terms. And this is something we must change. Because all of the Sahaba Ikram, all of them are Ahlul Jannah. All of them are promised Jannah. All of them are the most guided. They are the best men of Allah wa ta'ala. They are the Rijalullah, the true Rijalullah, the men of Allah, the Sahaba Ikram. So we love all of the Sahaba Ikram and we should show respect to each and every single one of them. All of them. So we love Sayyidina Julaybib radiyallahu anhu, and he has a very amazing background, a very amazing story about him. If we learn his life, we'll be very, very much impressed. So looking at the Babu min Fada'il Julaybib radiyallahu anhu, there's a hadith mentioned in Sahih Muslim. أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم كان في مغزى له فأفاء الله عليه فقال لأصحابه. So Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, one time, after one battle, he spoke with his Sahaba Ikram. And this was after, like I mentioned, this was after one battle. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he asked and questioned his Sahaba Ikram, asking them, is there anyone missing amongst you? Is there anyone missing amongst you? قالوا, they said, نعم, فلانا وفلانا وفلانا. The Sahaba Ikram, they humbly replied that, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, yes, so and so, so and so, and so and so. They're missing. ثم قال, then Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, is there anyone else missing from you? قالوا, they said, نعم, فلانا وفلانا وفلانا. Yes, so and so, so and so, and so and so. ثم قال, then Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam once again asked, is there anyone missing from amongst you? قالوا لا. Then the Sahaba Ikram, they humbly said, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, there's no one missing from amongst us. قال, then Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, لكني أفقد جليبيبا. But for me, I am missing my Julaybib. Subhanallah. Look at the mercy of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. That Julaybib, he wasn't the most famous Sahabi, he wasn't the most beautiful physically Sahabi. He didn't have the most beautiful appearance. So maybe in society he wasn't focused upon as much. He wasn't given a lot of focus upon him in society. But Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, I am missing my Julaybib. That Julaybib, he's missing from amongst you. فَطْلُبُوهُ. Then Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, so go and search for him. Go and look for Julaybib. فَطُلِبَ فِي الْقَتْلَى فَوَجَدَهُ إِلَى جبن سبعة قد فتلهم. Then it's mentioned here. So the Sahaba Ikram, they went and they looked for Sayyidina Julaybib radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. And they found him that he had defeated 7 enemies of Islam. That Sayyidina Julaybib, he had defeated 7 enemies of Islam. And he himself, he had become shaheed. Julaybib radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. So this shows the mercy of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi. This is a lengthy hadith. There's more detail to it, but just in the time we have, we're summarizing. That look at the mercy of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. That even amongst such a gathering, amongst many Sahaba Ikram, Rasulullah still remembered Julaybib. That person who wasn't given much love and given much importance in society. The best of all creation, Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, still remembered him and still asked about him. And it's mentioned in the hadith that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said that Julaybib, he is from me. Julaybib, he is from me. The same Sahabi who wasn't loved, he wasn't shown much mercy in society. The best of all creation said, Julaybib, he is from me. Subhanallah. So this is an example of the mercy of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. That the best of all creation, even the people who are suffering, people who aren't given importance in society, even them, Rasulullah alayhi sallam gives them importance and raises them. He's very famous about Sayyidina Sayyidina Bilal radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. Sayyidina Bilal radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, as we famously know, we teach this information to our children. Our children become aware of this, that Sayyidina Bilal radiyallahu anhu, he was tortured very badly. He was treated very badly by his Malik, by his owner. He would be dragged around the streets of Medina. He would be whipped, hot stones would be placed upon him. And after he accepted Islam, no matter what efforts were made to try to take him out of Islam, he always stuck upon Islam firmly. He never wavered. He never left Islam. He never showed any compromise. When he was being tortured for being a Muslim, Sayyidina Bilal radiallahu ta'ala, on his lips was Ahad, Ahad. He is one, Allah is one, Allah is one. He would never waver from this. He never gave up. Even when it came to the point where he may have passed away due to the shiddah, due to the extremity of the torture he was facing, the injustice that he was facing, he still stayed firmly steadfast upon Islam. Subhanallah. This is a lesson for us. So Sayyidina Bilal radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he was from Ethiopia, from Habash. And in the time of the Zamana Jahiliyyah, as we say, the time of Jahiliyyah, then the Arab, the Ahlul Jahiliyyah, the people of Jahiliyyah, they wouldn't even spit towards Bilal radiallahu anhu. They wouldn't even spit towards someone who was from Habasha. Because they felt that if they spat, if they put their saliva towards someone from the Habash, this would be disrespect to themselves. They would be disrespecting themselves if they put their saliva towards someone from Habasha. This is how the people of different ethnicities were looked at, were treated in the time of Jahiliyyah. And we famously know about the daughters. The daughters were buried alive. مِنْ أَيِّ ذَنْبٍ قُتِلَتْ. For what sin were they killed? As Allah mentions in the Quran. So this is a very dark and a very difficult time. And speaking, as I was saying about Sayyidina Bilal radiallahu anhu and other people like him, they were treated very badly, with much injustice. And these same people who were treated badly for their skin color, for the fact that they were slaves, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave them izzat and respect in society. I'll give you some examples. I'll give you some ahadith, subhanallah. That one time Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was eating some food. Then that same Bilal who was tortured, he was treated badly with injustice. No one valued him, no one loved him. People would abuse him. Rasulullah looked at him and said, "Oh Bilal, come and eat with us." Subhanallah. The best of all creation is calling Sayyidina Bilal and saying, "Oh Bilal, come and eat with us." Look at the respect that Rasulullah is giving to Bilal. And changing society at that time. Changing the face of society. Changing the atmosphere at that time. Changing the morals at that time. Changing the harshness of that time. And bringing love, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And remember, we are the ummah, we are the slaves of Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We must emulate his way. So Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam called Sayyidina Bilal and said, "Oh Bilal, come and eat with us." And the respect and the raising of the izzah and respect for Bilal doesn't end here by Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Then Sayyidina Bilal, he humbly replied, that, "Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, I'm fasting." And Rasulullah alayhi wa sallam, look at this. That same Bilal who was tortured, given no respect, Rasulullah has called him to eat first of all, and then says, "We are eating our sustenance here, and Bilal's sustenance is increasing in Jannah." Bilal is fasting, and his sustenance, his rizq is increasing in Jannah. Look at the love and look at the respect that Rasulullah ﷺ has given Bilal, the status he's given him. And why do you not think that the Sahaba would give their lives for Rasulullah ﷺ? Do you not think that the Sahaba Ikram, they would be ready to give everything for Rasulullah ﷺ? Subhanallah. And also there's another incident that, as I mentioned, Bilal, he was treated very badly with injustice. And when Rasulullah ﷺ, he brought Islam to Makkatul Mukarramah, he ordered Bilal radiallahu anhu to stand on top of the Kaaba and give the adhan. To stand on top of Baytullah and give the adhan. To stand on top of the house of Allah and give adhan. Subhanallah. And then Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu, he said, if my forefathers saw this sight, that a person from Habash, a black man, he's standing on top of the Kaaba and he's giving the adhan, they would have died. They would have died out of seeing this. Because they would never have imagined this. And they had so much hatred and racism in them. And then Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, when Sayyidina Bilal, he humbly asked her, "Ya Rasulullah, which way should I face?" Because we face towards the Kaaba when we give the adhan. We face towards the Qibla. Then Sayyidina Bilal, he humbly asked her, "Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, which way should I face?" Rasulullah alayhi sallam, the Kaaba of the Kaaba, he said, "Face towards me. Face towards me and give the adhan." Subhanallah. And the ulama, they prove from this that Rasulullah, he is more often to the Kaaba. This is one of the proofs that we can use. So this is the respect and the status that Rasulullah ﷺ has given the minorities in the Ummah. And this is a great example of the mercy of Rasulullah ﷺ. Like I mentioned, Rasulullah ﷺ said, Al-birru husnul khuluqi, that the piety is the beauty of the character. So we must come back to this way of mercy, this way of rahm, this way of kindness, this way of showing love to one another. As Rasulullah said, famous hadith, مَثَلُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ فِي تَوَدِّهِمْ وَتَرَاحُمِهِمْ وَتَعَاطُفِهِمْ مَثَلُ الْجَسَدِ, that the Muslims in their mercy to one another, in their compassion to one another, in their mawaddah to one another, and in their link to one another, in their connection to one another, is like the example of the body. مَثَلُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ فِي تَوَدِّهِمْ وَتَرَاحُمِهِمْ وَتَعَاطُفِهِمْ مَثَلُ الْجَسَدِ. It's like the body. When one part of the body feels pain, the entire body feels pain. When part of the body feels pain, then the rest of the body, it reacts with sleeplessness and with fever. This is how we should be. When we see these very difficult videos of Palestine, for example, when we see these very difficult videos of our Muslim brothers and sisters suffering, we should raise our hands and make dua there. We should have tears in our eyes, even if we are by ourselves in our room, even if we're laying down by ourselves in our bed late at night. We should raise our hands and we should make dua to Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala to remove all of their problems. We should feel pain in ourselves. Our eyes should become teary. How many times are we flicking through these videos, these YouTube shorts or TikTok? How many times are we flicking through these videos and we don't feel anything? We just flick through to the next one and we try to find the next amusing video, the next video that makes us laugh a bit, that makes our nafs satisfied a bit. Watching random things, watching people, cleaning certain products or designing certain things, or doing some DIY or something. Then we can watch this, we show interest in this. But when it comes to our brothers and sisters who are suffering, who are losing their loved ones, we don't feel anything, we just flick past this. This isn't how it should be, my dear brothers. We should show mercy to one another and we should care for one another and help each other in any way that we can. Try to support the ummah in any way that we can. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said in a summary, this is mentioned in the Arba'een of Imam Nawawi, Muhyiddin Imam Nawawi radiyallahu ta'ala. The same Imam Nawawi, who some ulama, they say he passed away in his 30s, late 30s or 40s. But he dedicated his life for Islam. He sacrificed his life for Islam. He dedicated everything he had for Islam. He wouldn't even sleep flat. He wouldn't lay flat on the floor because he didn't want to go into a deep sleep. And he wanted to keep studying and teaching Islam. He would lay against the wall and have just a little bit of rest, a light sleep, and then get up again. This is Imam Nawawi radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. So Imam Nawawi, he's famous for his works. For example, the Arba'een of Imam Nawawi, 42 ahadith of Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and Riyadh al-Salihin. These are some of the books and the commentary of Sahih Muslim that he's done on this Sahih Muslim as well. He's famous for some of these works. So Imam Nawawi, he mentions in the Arba'een of Imam Nawawi radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said in the summary, that if you see any evil, if you see any munkar, then you should change it with your hand. This should be our first approach. If we are able to change something peacefully, without causing any ghayr shari'i issue, without causing any big issue, if we are allowed to change something with our hand, we should change it. If we see two brothers fighting, for example, on the road, we see two brothers fighting, we should try to separate them. Try to make peace between them. Then Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam told us that if we aren't able to stop it with our hand, then we should stop it with our tongue. Really sadly. We should say, brothers, please stop fighting. I'll give an example. That you should say to those brothers, please stop fighting. You shouldn't fight. And if you aren't able to stop it with your tongue, you're worried about your safety, for example, then the least level is that you should stop it with your heart. Meaning, you should think that it is bad. بِقَلْبِهِ. You should stop it with his heart. Meaning that you should at least think that it's bad. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, this is the ad'af level of iman. The most weakest level of iman. The most weakest level of iman is that you at least feel that it's bad in your heart. So my dear brothers, when we see our brothers and sisters suffering, any way that we can help them, we should support them. Whether it be making dua for them, as Rasulullah ﷺ says, ad-du'a silah al-mu'min, that the dua is the weapon of a believer. Make dua for them, that Allah makes things better for them. If we're able to donate for them, we should donate for them. These are some examples. Whatever we can do, we should try to support them, inshallah. So speaking about mercy, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam mentioned, and alhamdulillah, I got ijazah, I got permission in this hadith from a sheikh from Morocco. This is the first hadith that is commonly given as an ijazah when the teachers, when the asatiza, when they're teaching their talaba, when they're giving ijazah to their talaba. This is the first hadith that they often give. And this hadith is from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says that have mercy upon the people of the earth, the Rabb of the skies will have mercy upon you. Have mercy upon people of the earth, the Rabb, the Lord, the creator of the skies, he will have mercy upon you. Also, Imam Ahmad, he mentions in the Musnad Imam Ahmad that show mercy, you will be shown mercy. Show mercy, you will be shown mercy. And forgive, you will be forgiven. There's an incident that I heard once from one of our teachers, that there was a man, his name was Mas'ud Hamdani rahimahumullah. And his amal, his practice was that whenever someone would come and do ghibah in front of him, someone would backbite about someone else in front of him, his reply would be, "Hum mazi ki baat nahi karte hain." We don't speak about the past. This was his practice. And then people would come to him and do ghibah in front, backbite in front of him, and he would say, "We don't talk about the past." That was his way to, stop them doing ghibah and stay away from that for the pleasure of Allah. Then Mas'ud Hamdani rahimahullah ta'ala, he passed away. And someone saw him in his dream. And they said to him, "How did Allah deal with you?" And he said, "When I was present in the court of Allah, when I was present in front of Allah, Allah ta'ala said to me, we don't talk about the past. And I'll enter into Jannah without hisab." Hamadi ki baat nahi karte hain. And Allah entered him into Jannah because of his amal of showing mercy and his amal of staying away from sins for the pleasure of Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. We must become people of mercy, people of raham. If someone does something bad against you, something personal, let it go. Let it go. After a few hours, you'll forget about it. It's not that deep, as we say in our street language. It's not that deep. Let it go. Don't think about it too much. After a few hours, you won't even remember it. So what's the need of developing hatred and building on that hatred in your hearts and maybe doing something which is haram? Maybe physically doing something haram, saying something haram. Why put yourself in that situation when you're going to forget about it anyway? We're only here for a short time, my dear son brothers. This isn't the place to hold grudges. This isn't the place to have unnecessary hatred. Be merciful. And inshallah, Allah will be merciful towards us. So one final hadith that I'll mention, that Sayyiduna Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam mentioned, that the most afdal deed, the greatest deed after performing the fara'id, the obligatory actions, is to put happiness into the heart of another Muslim. Look at this, my dear son. The most greatest afdal deed after the fara'id, for example, praying our 5 daily prayers, performing hajj, fasting in Ramadan. How great these a'mal are. The most virtuous, the best deed after this is to put happiness into another Muslim brother's heart. Subhanallah. To put happiness to the heart of another Muslim. This is what we must work on, my dear son brothers. We must try to develop this. After Jum'ah, for example, try to give salam to one another. This removes hatred, this removes enmity, this builds love. Even if you know somebody, you don't know someone, don't be so hasty running out of the masjid. Even if you make eye contact with someone, give salam to him. Say, "How are you, brother?" Talk to him like he's your relative. Over time, you'll see your izzat will increase in society and you will have more taqwa in your heart over time, inshallah. So inshallah, I hope this is something that we can learn from. We need to become people of mercy. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Jazallahu anna sayyidina wa maulana Muhammadin sallallahu alayhi wa sallam ma huwa ahlu. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Please perform your sunnah.